Hey guys, and welcome to the first episode of the Joining Me Today podcast with me, Bailey ewers-smith, the internet's first and best, even though they're basically the same thing, Bailey ewers-smith person who has this podcast. And before we get started on this podcast, which is a podcast where I just interview people and stuff that interest me, that can be from any parts and stuff of sort of pop culture, society. It could be a doctor, it could be a lawyer, it could be a YouTuber, it could be anybody. But what I always like to do, and the reason why I've quickly cut to that as opposed to saying about what the podcast is about, which I probably should have done, is I always like to do a song recommendation. And I really want to recommend, for the first episode of this podcast, I really want to go out and recommend my favourite song of all time. It's a song called Love Me Again by John Newman. People from the UK have most likely heard of it. It got to first in the charts about 9 years ago now. Wow, that's a really long time ago. And it's just an absolutely fantastic song. John Newman has a fantastic voice and just the flow of the song and everything. It's just a brilliant song. So I'd like to go recommend that song out there. But now, for the main event of this first episode, I'd like to introduce everybody to YouTuber, band member, and just all around brilliant guy, member of the Renegade Media Group YouTube channel, and the person who runs that TheycallmeHatGuy YouTube channel. Welcome to the podcast, Chad, aka TheycallmeHatGuy. Welcome. How are you?
What's up? Flexing on them.
Me try and flex these muscles where they're like,
hey,
this.
Look at the pythons, dude. He's rocking the pythons, bro. Thanks for having me on your podcast, dude.
Yeah, no, it's such a great honor and stuff to have you on and stuff. This is such a brilliant opportunity and stuff for myself. So I'd like to, I've just done my own song recommendation and stuff, and I know you yourself and stuff are very into music, especially that sort of punk rock, pop punk music. So if you was to make a song recommendation for the listeners out there, what song recommendation would you make?
Well, I'm actually a rapper as well. I've been big into hip hop music for about over 20 years, so for a long time. I actually won the Black Student Union Freestyle Championship at the University of Virginia in Wise 2 years in a row in 2008 and 2009. So this answer is actually going to be a fusion of both punk rock, emo, and rap.
Wow.
And it's this guy called Nobody Period Nowhere.
Oh yeah, I do actually know that guy, yeah.
And he's got a song called Dread. And it's just like, that could come off very corny and like very cringe to mix emo and punk and rap. And there's plenty of people who have done it terribly. But he is a masterful songwriter, and the execution is out of this world. So I would recommend that. Trigger warning, though, if you're not okay with like the topic of mental health issues and depression, stuff like that, then I would not recommend listening to that song. But if it's something that you can relate to and hearing other people talk about it might empower you to feel good, then I would recommend that for sure.
Yeah, that sounds like an absolutely great recommendation. I believe I have heard of that guy and stuff from somewhere. The problem is, a lot of music artists have very similar names, so you get a bit confused.
Yeah.
Like, I think I had that before with, I think it was a band called All Time Low and another band called Me and Six, and I got them confused one time and stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, he's done stuff with Dashboard Confessional and Travis Barker.
Oh, yeah,
and a SoundCloud rapper named Oliver Francis. He's done a collaboration with. So he's done a lot of things with some pretty notable people. It's funny to say Oliver Francis is a SoundCloud rapper, but that guy's more talented than Machine Gun Kelly and a lot of these notable people. Like Oliver Francis is a beast also. I would recommend him. He does a lot of rap that involves like, it's not like overly reliant on anime references, but he'll also do some stuff that's just like really killer, and then he'll mention like Master Roshi or like Naruto or somebody. Like it's not the entire premise of the song, but he'll use it in a line, you know, some reference to pop culture anime stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I love to see that sort of thing, especially when it's like sort of like gaming and stuff like that. Like for myself, like
Yeah,
some sort of like rappers and stuff like that there, and other musicians, they put in like a Zelda
yeah.
noise effect or something like that. I love seeing that. So that's a brilliant song recommendation and stuff. You guys should go check that out and stuff. Sounds pretty sick to me. So I'd like to get into the first sort of like proper question stuff of the podcast and stuff.
Sure.
Obviously, the sort of main reason stuff you're on this podcast is because of your YouTube channel. They Call Me Hat Guy, a YouTube channel where you react to all different sorts of videos. You've reacted to Internet Historian, Nakey Jakey, Scott the Woz, and most importantly, Jontron for myself, because Jontron is such a great YouTuber. It's great to see.
Pretty epic.
It's great to see people react to his videos. But I would like to like know, how did your channel get started?
There was a point right before the pandemic started where, for those of you who don't know, Nathan Hamilton, the founder of Renegade Media Group, is a lifelong friend of mine. I mean, my band was started with him. We started that band together when we were both like 18 and 19 years old. And I'm still doing it to this very day, and we still practice at his house. So like, we were in musical theater together in high school. Like I've known Nate so long. It's ridiculous to see his transformation into the person he is today. Is just like, dude, I'm so proud of that guy, because people really don't know the shit he's been through to get to where he is today. It's a lot. But we moved in with him. He was living at a place that they called the mansion, rightfully so. It was 3-story compound with a golf course in the backyard. It was crazy. Wow. So, because he wanted to get me closer to the city, and because we're from the backwoods in the middle of nowhere. And so he was like wanting to get me to a place where I could have better job opportunities and things like that. And he rented out the upstairs of that house to myself and my girlfriend. So, we started renting that out and working with him. And for a couple of years, he kind of had been just showing me, how, because I used to think of reaction videos as kind of cringe. Like a lot of that was out there, it was like these people were just reposting videos and they didn't even give. And he was telling me about like the ability you have to connect with people and discover new things and have people teach you about things, and how there's like a social media aspect of YouTube that is completely lost on people. When I do live streams and things like that, I'm seeing people in the comments and in the chat and everything. Like, I know I've seen them before. I've talked to them before. We hang out, and the same thing happens in the comment section. Like Nikki and I go through that, and we're seeing people and we're talking about it in our videos and everything. And I was like, damn, I had no idea. Like, I just thought that's where I went to watch music videos. It wasn't a thing that I could interact with. And he showed me that. Yeah, but even more so, it's like to me now, when I'm watching and reacting to a video, it's like I'm sitting there with y'all and we're all checking this out, because when I watch the comments, like, you're telling me what's going on as you're watching it, and we're communicating that way. It's a really interesting thing. So he taught me about that. And then I was like, dude, I really enjoy doing this, and I hate all this work that I'm doing outside of the house, where I'm like, I was working at a lab at the time, at a biorepository, and we were taking samples and freezing them at different temperatures and shipping them off to medical companies. And when COVID started, we were working on, the vaccines. We were working on samples for the vaccines. And I mean, it was just crazy. And I was like, you know what? Forget this, man. I'm going to do it. Nate has been training me practically for a couple years. And he is in full support. He's telling me all the time, dude, you got to just make a channel, start doing whatever you want. You know, don't stress, just create and put it out there. People know you now that you've been on my channel for a little bit. And so they're interested in what else is going on with you. Just like start doing it. And I did. I put out some original videos. One of the first reactions I did was on my lunch break at work in the back of my car, reacting to the Odd Ones Out, because I just said, this, I'm either going to do it or I'm not. I'm just going to do it. You know, I was on my lunch breaks, like messaging Nikki over Facebook Messenger, like, please, can you, like, I don't have time to make this thumbnail. I don't have time to do this. Like, I have to still be at work, but I have got to post a video today. Please help me. And she'd be like, dude, you're being ridiculous, but I love you. Of course, I'll help you post this video, whatever. And eventually I was like, I know how to do the reaction thing because Nate has shown me. I'm really struggling getting any kind of traction making videos where I'm just talking about shit that I like. Like retro gold was my thing. Like I wanted to make retro video game commentary videos and reviews and game hunting videos, which I still will, but I wasn't doing very well, and I started paying for advertising. So I was paying like $20, $25 a video to advertising companies to like try and promote every video that I put out in the beginning. And I mean, I was drowning in spending that much money, but it was like, I think I can do this, you know? And then Nate was like, maybe you can convince Nikki to react to some videos with you. People know you from a reaction channel. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but maybe that might work. And I was like, damn, dude, if I could show Nikki Internet Historian and JonTron, she will be hooked. She will want to do this. And it worked. You know, it worked because they're great. So that's how it got started. It was all the desperation of just being sick of being strangled to death by my job. The desperation of the times with the COVID situation. I'm a performer. I couldn't wrestle. I couldn't sing. I couldn't perform on stage. I couldn't do anything. So my life was just taken from me. Like, I literally only lived for those things. When I woke up in the morning, it was wrestling and it was being on stage performing my music, and they were gone. I mean, gone, dude. So, I mean, I watched a live performance from a band I really like called The Midnight, and I saw people like singing the lyrics, and I just started bawling. I just started crying because I remember that feeling. You know, it'd only been a few months ago where I was all sweaty and jamming and just like there with my people, you know, at the local venue, and then can't do it anymore. And who knows when that's going to come back. Yeah, so I was just like broken as a person. And then this gave me another life and another opportunity to engage with people and entertain people and all that. So yeah, man, the beginning of doing YouTube videos was a whole bunch of support from Nate and my partner Nikki and Nick and Jacob, and just the people at Renegade Media Group and my partner helping me out of the end of my life, pretty much. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's like great to hear. I'm really sort of like, you know, it makes me a little bit emotional to think like, you know, you started your channel, so it wasn't just like, oh, you know, I can get some views off this, you know, I was famous from the Renegades, let's go. No, you were like, you know, no, this was like a passion project. I was doing this because COVID had just started and you wanted to sort of, you know, create content and stuff in that reaction space that hadn't really been seen. That's why I like you guys and the Renegades, because so much of the reaction channels out there and stuff are just literally, like you say, it's just like reposting the video. They'll just like laugh once and then that'll be it. They'll just pump out all these videos, or they'll even fake it. I've seen some cases where I'll see like sort of certain reaction YouTubers, they'll like laugh at jokes where you're like, there's no way you could have got that. You're an American and you're laughing at jokes that only a British person could get. And then you start to notice a pattern and you're like, oh, I see what's going on here. So it was great to see, like, you know, you got your channel started from this, you know, sort of this element of like, oh, you know, passion, and sort of because the lockdown started, you wanted to sort of do something creative. It's kind of what sort of, not in terms of COVID, but in terms of this whole podcast, it's something I've been planning for years, and I just thought, why don't I just go for it? And luckily here we are and stuff. So yeah,
that's great. The right approach, man. Bravo. Congratulations on starting this podcast, because dude, you live so much of your life here. And it never materializes beyond that. And then you'll stop yourself here. It's like all your dreams and everything stay up here because your mind also works against you. It's like, man, wouldn't this be amazing? And this is why you can't have it.
Yeah, I'm like constantly thinking of all these creative ideas and stuff. And I was like, I would love to have a creative outlet to sort of, you know, let some of that sort of loose in a way. And luckily, and some of this podcast has like allowed me to do that. So this is just amazing. Speaking to you is amazing. This is just also great.
Hey, do you have, is that a Finn Balor shirt you've got on?
That's a Finn Balor shirt. Yeah, I'm a massive fan of wrestling. I've been a wrestling fan since about 2010, when I was about 7 years old.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's been
nice.
Big part of my life,
dude. So I got to tell you a wrestling story real quick. Since you're a Finn Balor fan, you'll appreciate this. So when I was wrestling, I was trained by Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express.
Oh wow! Really?
That's who I trained with him for 2 years.
Oh wow!
And so we were working a show at the School of Morton that had been bought out by this kid for his birthday. He got 3 matches, you know, and they did a big thing for him. It was great. And there's like all these, you know, 6 to 10-year-old kids in there, like 30 of them. And I wrestled this kid named Jungle Boy, who, not the AEW Jungle Boy, but he was like 12, 90 pounds, soaking wet, you know, probably. But he took me down and he did like a front flip splash, whatever you call it. I don't get into the high flying moves or anything like that. Okay. But he accidentally over-rotated and did a front flip coup de grace right on my chest, dude. Like stomped, like did a front flip coup de grace and stomped on my chest. No. And of course, you know, I took it like I would anything.
Yeah.
And it was fine because it was like somebody threw a pillow on me. The kid weighed nothing. But yeah, he hit me with a front flip coup de grace, man, just like straight to the chin. I was like, I should be dead right now. You know, of course I sold it to the moon, like, you know, dying. But yeah, that was a funny moment for me. Just like Finn Balor would have been impressed by that, I'm sure. When botches go right.
That is just like, because obviously with the coup de grace I've always noticed, because to be honest, professional wrestling is something I would like to sort of train out to do, but fortunately it's just more like, it's not really as accessible in the UK and stuff. We've got such a big scene over here, but wrestling schools, they kind of don't really exist over here. But yeah, like I looked at sort of moves like the coup de grace and stuff, how they're used, and you're supposed to stamp, isn't it, right before the opponent? So it's kind of like you're stepping on them, but it's just like right before, like that, isn't it? I could be wrong about that.
Like I said, I'm not the guy to go to for those things. I know how to take a lot of moves, but I'm a heel. So I just cheat. I just, you know, when it's time for the heat, when I'm beating up the baby face and stuff like that, I'm using the ropes. I'm springing their neck off the ropes. I'm wrapping their arm in the ropes. I do a ripcord sling blade, which is a pretty decent move. Seth Rollins used to do it. And I do a couple of moves like that, but it's mostly just cheating, flipping off the baby face that's out, because I'm in a tag team, you know. So me and my partner will cheat. We'll have a manager that's hitting somebody in the back when the ref's not looking. So I leave all that fancy stuff up to the baby faces. I mean, you look at somebody like Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Oh, yeah.
Look at his moves, dude. Look at his moves. He didn't do dude. He didn't do anything crazy, and everybody loved it. The Rock was the same way. The people's elbow is like the simplest, dumbest like move. It should never hurt anybody.
It's so most electrifying in sports.
But it's the most electrifying move because it's about more like Rey Mysterio, Finn. There's certain people, Ricochet, there's Darby Allin, there's certain people without that element of just like, holy crap, they just did that with their bodies. They wouldn't be elevated to the level that they're at. But then you get somebody like Hulk Hogan, whose facials were just so incredibly strong. He could captivate the audience just by looking around. Sorry, Finn, you don't have that. But he does have moves that Hogan could never do.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like some of the athletic ability of some of these wrestlers is just absolutely incredible to see. So the second question I'd like to ask, funny enough, going back to you talking about Nate and the Renegades and stuff, I'd be really interested in knowing how did you first meet the different members of the Renegades?
My first meeting with Nate was probably when his mom was my art teacher.
Oh, wow.
In middle school, I think, was when she was my art teacher the first time. Because I had her a couple of times. Or maybe my freshman year. But it was whenever he came in to her room for some reason, and I met him there. But, like, the first time we ever spoke was when we were on the football team together. We played American football together, and we met that way.
Oh, well, that's quite sick. And you've spoke a little bit in the past and stuff about sort of your love of American football. I believe you're a Detroit Lions fan, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm a fan of Barry Sanders. I was more a fan of individuals than teams.
Oh wow.
Though I was a team of Washington was my team for the NFL for a long time growing up, all because my grandmother bought me a jacket when I was a kid. The stupid that'll just hook you to teams. It's like, oh, my grandma bought me a jacket. This is who I like, but it was mostly just individual players.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was the number 20 for Detroit Lions, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
a fact. Yeah, the greatest running back of all time, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of know that because my main team is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and stuff. They're my main team. And then after that, funny enough, my first game was a Detroit Lions game because I've been to about, I think, 8 NFL games now, I think.
Nice.
When they bring them over to like London and stuff, my uncle is a really big like NFL fan, and he started to take me along, and I saw it was Detroit Lions against... Oh, I'm trying to think who it's against. Atlanta Falcons. There we go. So
Sick.
It was against the Falcons, and they literally won through like some sort of 40-yard.
Where is it? Shoot. All right, I've got 2 Barry Sanders rookie cards somewhere. I was going to show you. I thought they were sitting right there. Yeah.
But as I was saying, like I think it was like a 40-yard like winning kick they got right at the end, like to flip the score. The Lions won. It was so electric, and from that moment, I kind of started to support them as well. So that's kind of how I linked to the Lions and stuff.
They've been really good multiple years. I mean, if you look at what Barry Sanders was able to do with a team that was absolute crap, I mean, they were awful, and he took them into the playoffs by himself, dominating the whole way, doing his thing. He couldn't win a Super Bowl with that team. It's hard to ask a running back to do everything. A quarterback's a different story, but a running back literally just gets the ball handed to them and has to go.
Yeah.
And he's one of the greatest ever. To take a team that had literally nobody and almost win the Super Bowl is pretty incredible.
It reminds me a bit of like the I think it was the Houston Texans a few years back. They had JJ Watt, and he was like he's the best defensive guy in the NFL. But because their offense was so bad, he can only really help on defense. When it comes to offense, it's all down to that quarterback and the rest of the team.
and you can't do anything else about it. That's why it takes really good teams. That's what's also impressive about Tom Brady is the fact that he's able to be on a team, be what that team needs, and encourage and motivate everyone around him to do their job as well. Michael Jordan's the same way in basketball. He was not only, in my opinion, the greatest player of all time, but if you were on the court with Jordan, you had to know your role and do it, or he would make sure something was done about that. People who care about their whole team. Like you look at LeBron James right now.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't care. he does not care.
Yeah.
Michael Jordan
with him being at the
always cared. Always.
Yeah, I remember when he was at the LeBron James when he was at the Heat about 2012 because I've dabbled a bit with basketball and stuff, and like he just did so great at like the Heat, got him to I believe to win the NBA Finals, and then he went to a couple of other teams, and he just no matter where he goes, he just wins. Same with Brady and stuff. When he came to us at Tampa Bay, I was a bit like, oh, is it a case of was it a good coach at New England?
Yeah.
And was it a good tight end and all that sort of stuff? No, he just came in, won the Super Bowl the first season. Watching that live, that was amazing. So, yeah, no, it's totally like these players can just basically go to any team and just be brilliant, really. So the third question I'd like to ask and stuff, we've touched on a little bit already about sort of your love of like gaming and stuff like that. And I'd be really interested to know and stuff, what's your sort of experience been with gaming, sort of when you was younger and stuff, and sort of what sort of things do you like play now?
When I was younger, I was introduced to my first like home console being the regular Nintendo, the original Nintendo, which NES is a bomb, but there are a lot of games that suck for that system, unfortunately. So I was really frustrated. We had to go to video game rental stores and rent games. Luckily, there was one right underneath my apartment when I had an NES, so I would just go down to that store and rent games. And like one in particular, are you familiar with Swamp Thing?
Is that the DC character?
DC character, yeah, he's just covered in swamp and stuff. But he's pretty ugly cat. But I was a big fan of the movies, and I saw that there was a game, and then I started trying to play it when I rented it, and it was awful. And then I kept doing that. Like I would see the cover art and just be like, "Oh, this is gonna be sick," and then it's just like. Just like a little blip, and you can't differentiate between things. It might as well have been an Atari game most of the time. But the next system that I got was a total surprise. I had no idea that it even existed, but it was a Super Nintendo because I was so young. I was probably like 6, and my dad got it for me. It came with the Super Mario World. And expanded with all the retro versions of the game too, and it was amazing. That's when I really was just like, all right, I love video games. And then after like Modern Warfare, when I started into college, I became so broke and like had no money at all that I had sold all of my video game stuff. I had no consoles. Like, there was a point in my life where I had to abandon my car on the side of the road because I ran out of gas and just had no way of getting help from my family or anyone else to move that car. Whoa, so there was a huge span of like from 2010 to like 2013, 14, where I was able to have enough money to take care of myself and provide for myself and buy games and just do things other than how am I going to get food to survive,
Wow. That is just like crazy. Like, fortunately, and that's not anything I've had to go through myself or like sort of any sort of close family and stuff I've had to go through. So I can't even imagine sort of what that must have been like, because it doesn't just affect your sort of, I've got to sort this, sort that. It's like your mental health as well,
Oh like God, it was terrible. Yeah. And I was undiagnosed. My bipolar disorder was undiagnosed. I knew I had ADD and stuff, but like the mood swings, massive depressive super high highs as well, where I like feel like I can do anything and I'm just like everything's great and I can spend all of my money, and then, oh, what did I just do? You know, over and over and over again for years. I mean, it was a vicious cycle of just me falling forward and figuring it out. But I got into the military and started, getting some stabilization into my life. And with that, I was able to start collecting games again, start getting back into the scene. That's why, like, when with a lot of these things on YouTube, if it happened like after I got out of high school and before like 2016, I have no clue. I totally missed it because I was just out here trying to eat. I was trying to survive. I was trying to find my way, and then I was in boot camp and I was working in the Navy and they work you like a dog. I mean, it was just, my life was, I have to survive and get my stuff together and figure out how to not just go crazy and be a vagabond and just like, I just had to find my way. And, I'm grateful for that experience because, like, no matter what happens, it's like I've been homeless to a certain degree. I've had to be like, I'm going to sleep on this relative's couch for a week, this one, for a while, trying to figure it out. Working jobs, trying to figure it out. Just, it was rough, but here I am.
Yeah, and here you are and stuff, and now you're creating content that's entertaining loads of people out there. What a transformation, really.
I hope so, man. I hope so.
So, you like mentioned and stuff about like collecting games and all that. Are you a sort of person where you try to sort of just collect like, sort of games for series you like, or are you thinking about, oh, I might collect some rare games? So what's your experience like in terms of trying to sort of game collect?
Most of the time, I just have to really like the game. I have to be a fan of the franchise. But I am also a fan of gaming in general, right? So I have a love for games for like every system. There's a game that I really like, right? So I'm very specific about what game it is, but as far as like what console or what company, I don't really care. I'm a huge Atlas fan. I really like their JRPGs, especially the ones for the PS1 and PS2. Those are my jam. That's why I've got Persona Revelations complete, Persona 2, Thousand Arms. I also have Suikoden 2, which is one of my childhood favorites. Let me grab that back. This microphone is so heavy. It just falls. Let me get this. You got me too hyped talking about gaming, retro games. This leg is...
That could be a video title. Suikoden 2 made me drop my microphone.
Suikoden 2 made me lose my mind. Yeah, this thing hit the floor too. All right. This is my bad because like even my mic holder that's like an arm can't hold this thing. It's too heavy.
Oh no. Oh, and then obviously, yeah, if you can't hold it, you've got to have it. This situation, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry about that. But yeah, I've got Suikoden 2 complete. It's beautiful.
Wow. Yeah, that looks well sick.
I love it. But that game is one that I burnt my original PlayStation 1. Like I said, I grew up poor. I've never had that much money. But I had to keep my game running because I had no memory card. So I tried to beat Suikoden 2 without saving. And I got really close, but my PlayStation just like burned itself out.
Oh. Because obviously being an RPG, they're obviously really, really long games as well. So it's not like something you can finish in 30 minutes, obviously, yeah.
No. So 9-year-old me destroyed a PlayStation 1 trying to play Suikoden 2 without saving.
Yeah, that's like a crazy story. Yeah, in terms of like myself and stuff, I would consider myself a game collector. At the moment, I'm trying to go for a full Wii U set. Because for some reason I'm strange like that. But it was just the console. It just came at that time where it's like I remember even Scott that was funny enough said it in one of his videos. He said like, you get to sort of a certain age where whatever console's out when you're like 13, 14, where you can properly start to appreciate and stuff, you know, like gaming consoles, you know, properly emotionally relate to things. You're not just a kid going, oh, I like Mario. Like, you probably take it in. I remember when the Wii U came out and I got it. It was about like 11, and it was just like, oh, it's this new system. Like, look, you've got all these icons, and I can watch YouTube, and I can play it off the TV. So it kind of, I still have that affinity for the console. Like, it's like that love-hate relationship sort of thing, and I just wanted to go collect for it. And it's funny you were saying about buying sort of games and stuff that you like, because I've had to unfortunately buy a couple of games I don't like. Like, I spent £10 on Just Dance 4 because I was trying to get.
And you play the hell out of it, don't you? You just do nothing but play it.
And the
Can't stop dancing.
The worst part was it was literally 2 months later, the price of it dropped down by £6. So it went down to I bought it because I was like, oh no, it's going to keep going up in price. And then it just went literally within 2 months. Oh, and I got that physically in store, and I'm like 18, and so I'm a guy and stuff. And I also put it next to, I got Assassin's Creed 3 at the same time. So it was like, oh, can I have a copy of Assassin's Creed 3 and Just Dance 4? They probably must thought I was like crazy or something. Oh.
Yeah.
And I also
or just a really passionate assassin who dances whenever you kill somebody. Maybe that.
Yeah.
Why not both?
What's the rarest game you own? Because you own I know the Atlas games are quite rare games. Do you know which one's the rarest you own?
Give me a second. I'm gonna go find it. Okay. These are pretty rare. Obviously, this is kind of making me nervous just because of how much money is on my futon right now. As far as, well, I already showed Suikoden 2, so that one's really hard to find. They didn't make a bunch of it, you know, because who knew when did this come to America? What is this, 1998? Who knew that JRPGs were going to be as popular as they became? Not many people. This one, on the other hand, I think was 96. 1996. Persona Revelations.
Oh, yeah.
And I gotta be really careful. But I mean, I've got like the manual, the case, all of this is legit. It's all original. I keep a little piece of bubble wrap in here in case it gets jostled around just to keep the disc from cracking, because old PS1 discs, the ring in the middle is, I mean, they are all going to fall apart eventually. They're going to crack. I mean, and if you get the slightest little crack around that circle, it won't read. The PS1 won't read it anymore. And the PS2 will, the PS3 will, but if you can't play it on the original console, it's jacked up, you know? So that one is really rare, and I had to piece it together. I had to buy the case separate, I had to buy the disc separate, and I had to buy the manual separate. Each piece was well over $100.
Whoa! Yeah, wow. So that's quite a lot, isn't it?
It took over a year to put it all together.
Wow.
These two have become quite valuable and are very rare. It's another couple of Atlas titles. This is Shin Megami Tensei Devil Summoner, Raido versus what do we got? The Soulless Army, and then King Abaddon. But this is a fake label, like the box art's fake. I had to piece this together, but I have the actual disc. Yeah. And for this disc, I paid. I got the receipt actually for a lot of these. I paid $15 for that. Wow. In 2019, I paid $15 for that. It's over $100 now.
Oh my, wow. Yeah, because so many games have done that where, like, I noticed it over lockdown. Funny enough, being a Wii U collector, I started about a year before lockdown happened. And it was like over lockdown, certain games just went crazy up. And it was like, it ended up messing up the whole market.
One, this is complete. This is everything. This is the manual, the disc, the art. This is all original. And I probably paid $20, $30 for this in 2019, and now it's well over 100. Now, probably the rarest game that I have that is not from like an older console, like a modern game that I have that's unbelievable and it's worth a ton of money now. Godzilla for PS4.
Yeah.
And I have the receipt for this. I don't know where it is, but I do have it. But this thing was, I think, $30 because it was a newer game. It was like 30, maybe $40. But I knew when I looked at how many of these were printed, I was like, I'm buying this right now. And now it's well over $100, you know. PS4 game, dude. A PS4 game. What is this? 2015? And this thing's gone from $60 brand new. If you had this sealed, I mean, you could probably get $300 for it sealed. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. So yeah, I would say those are like 5 games that I have that are really hard to get and really valuable. Then there's stuff out there that I have that's really valuable, but not like this. I have college football, you know, NCAA football 14. This game is over $100.
What?
Well over $100.
That's so random.
Because they don't make NCAA football games anymore. This was the last one.
Oh, so it's like in demand, isn't it? People want it.
It's in demand. But dude, they printed so many of these. Like there's so many copies of this game. They made just as many as Madden. But guess what? It's the last one. People want it. This complete copy of this is well over $100.
That is, wow. That is just crazy.
It's the gaming market, dude. Like you'll find the most awful games will be. We'll let Metal Jesus Rocks mention a game one time in a video, the price will double. It'll just go way up. You know, I love the guy. He has amazing content. He's inspired me to do a lot of the things I want to do. But yeah, he definitely has the ability to crank up the price of a game.
Yeah, it's quite fun, like, you know, funny and stuff you say about sort of paying low prices and stuff for games and then they end up coming valuable. Obviously, like, being sort of Wii U collector and all that, I was obviously keeping an eye on prices, and I still knew that there was possibly new games coming out for Wii U. Like, I knew that it was just a bit sort of inside the sort of line, and these were the last 2 PAL games released for Wii U and stuff. These are just some indie games, random. I don't even know what... I know what they're about, but I don't really know who developed them. I just got them because they were the last 2 released. I got them for 30 quid, sort of be like $40 for you guys. And they're now valued combined. You're talking just under £300.
Dude, you got to hold them up and flex.
Got to flex them. Oh, I've knocked my Uncharted 4 sealed now, but yeah.
Look, there you go. That's what's up.
It's such a gap.
Nice.
It'd be like its own football goal. But I also had I also got a Phineas and Ferb game for Wii U and stuff. I paid 55 quid for that, obviously years and years after it was released.
Yeah.
And it's just shot up to at one point like £130. And it's not even good. It's just this garbage kids game that means nothing. And the price just boosh. Literally.
Well, some games are worth it though. Some games, to me, it makes sense. For Persona Revelations being like what? I saw one sell the other day, complete for like $500 and something, right? So that game is awful. It is one of the worst games I've ever played. It is stupid bad. It is so bad. But it's like the first game in the series, right? This is the first one that came from the Shin Megami Tensei series and was like this offshoot more focused on like high school stuff and all this. And it's massively popular now. Like after the third one, people started to realize, damn, this is kind of cool. But that game's terrible. Worth tons of money. Now I won't get this one out because I've already demolished everything trying to grab some of this stuff. But I have Soul Silver for the DS up there complete. You know, so yeah, like that makes sense that game would be really valuable. It's one of the greatest Pokemon games ever. It's top 3 easy. So that makes sense, dude. Like I know that there's a bunch of them printed and everything, but it's hard to keep the box. It's like I've got the cardboard glossy, like the shiny box and everything. I've got the Pokewalker, all that stuff. Like that makes sense to me that would be expensive. It's got all these parts to it, all these things. So yeah, no, I totally get that. But like you said, like some kid's game that's like not even that great or anything, just because it fits these certain criteria.
Oh yeah.
Resellers online start going, yeah.
It's funny also you mentioned and stuff quickly about sort of you've got Soul Silver and you say it's such a great game. Or funny enough, Heart Gold's actually my favourite game of all time and stuff.
It's a beautiful game.
I remember I went back to playing it like a couple of years ago. I just walked around just a little bit of the game and I just started like crying a bit because it just got to me emotionally of like, I love how beautiful this game is and how much it means to me. And yeah, I really, really hope they potentially re-release it someday, unless they do a Let's Go thing with it.
You know, that was like a re-release in and of itself.
Yeah. Like
so it kind of makes me think maybe they won't, just because they're like, oh, we already re-released this in 2010. Do we really need to do it again? You know, yeah. But like, yes, you should. You know, I almost cussed again, but yes, you should.
And yeah, I'd also like to like finally get onto the like the final question and stuff like that. This been sort of great podcast and stuff, great interview and stuff. Loved having you on and stuff. And I'd
Thank
like
you.
To, present and stuff. The final question to yourself: what would you build up the suspense? Use copyrighted music. So I would like to ask you, what advice would you give your younger self? Like if you was to go back, like speak to your 18-year-old self, what would be like the one piece of advice you give to yourself?
The biggest piece of advice that I would give to myself would be to respect my emotions, but not let the mood I'm in or how I'm feeling or whatever it is that's like weighing me down, steer the ship. You know, make the hard decisions, make the intelligent decisions, do the things that nobody else wants to do to get what you want, and don't let you yourself be what keeps you from living the life that you want to live.
Yeah, that is like such a beautiful thing and stuff like that to hear from yourself.
Yeah.
And this has also been like a great interview and stuff. That was a great ender, so I really appreciate that. So I'd like to thank you, everybody and stuff, listening to this podcast, the first episode of the Joining Me Today podcast. Today I was joined by TheycallmeHatGuy, and what a great, fantastic interview and stuff. So I'd like to say my goodbyes. See you guys later. Hope you tune in to more episodes. Peace out.